OMNi's Far-Flung Foray. We like to think of God as being capable of all things, even miracles. There is one thing, however, that God cannot do. To his great dismay, he is unable to surprise himself. Consider how this following scenario might explain why, after centuries of befuddlement over the big metaphysical questions, humanity does not appear to be moving any closer to plausible answers. It is obvious that we are not transcending, ascending, or any thing of the elevated, wishful thinking sort. Instead, it seems most likely that we are here purely for the amusement of the Almighty One. And what could this have to do with God being surprised? A quote to begin with. Explaining the unknown by means of the unobservable is always a perilous business, by Anonymous. With that admonition in mind, let's begin the fable of OMNi's Far-Flung Foray. Verily, before we were, the Supreme Being OMNi was, and in the fullness of time he became mightily bored. Note: to avoid the confusion caused by the endless parade of titles that have been given to the idea of God, I will instead here use the term OMNi, which suggests the omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent attributes that traditionally define such a being. One could just as conveniently substitute any of the following terms: the Tao, the universe, the pleroma, the creative force, or create your own. Yes, OMNi became mightily bored, with too much infinity on his hands, boundless talents, and, as is now well known, an active and somewhat mischievous imagination. OMNi now had a vexing dilemma to address. His persistent lack of purpose and suitable amusement was becoming an ongoing problem. Observing the endless void, he asked no one in particular, "Why am I here all alone?" This question is familiar now to humankind, but when OMNi asked it firstly and loudly, the echo seemed to go on forever. It may be safe to say that he craved a pleasant adventure and a bit of stimulation in a way not yet fully imagined or manifested. As OMNi pondered the situation, he became sure that a creative project was the antidote. But, being infinite and powerful, OMNi was not easily amused. Not just any escapade would do. The unknown being the essence of delight, the concept of an all-knowing supreme being surprising himself posed a difficulty. After mulling it over for God knows how long, the following is a scenario of the solution that he might have arrived at. You know what they say about idle hands. Why create us? The Otherness Project. As OMNi surveyed the vastness of the universe, what did he experience? Vibration, light, sound. Perhaps energy careening around and some sort of cosmic pachinko game geometry. What he did not experience, but evidently desired, was suitable amusement. He needed the unpredictability of otherness, that is, beings who possess just enough latitude of behavior to be entertaining. He needed the vagaries and proclivities of living, breathing beings to fulfill this fantasy. It would be a creative gamble, to be sure, but, if successful, a source of endless entertainment. Skin and bones, muscle and blood, nerves, pain receptors, these are the building blocks of a deity-level creative endeavor. An easily impressed audience was also needed. Future kudos were anticipated for this brilliant idea of cosmic construction. OMNi's anticipation and excitement were growing with the passing of each eon at the thought of such an intriguing project. "Oh, Lord knows I just can't wait to get started," he mused. In retrospect, maybe he should have thought it over for a few more eons. Almighty appendages. Why create us? Aha, an audience. Alan Watts said, "We are the universe experiencing itself subjectively. We are the cosmos exploring its own mysteries." But for how long can an entity dance as if there is nobody watching, especially if there is no expectation of anyone ever watching for all eternity? At one segment of eternal time, OMNi experienced an unfamiliar sort of agitation. He paced to and fro across the void while wondering, what is this odd new stirring in my being? This urging to experience appreciation and admiration is to what end? And to be given from whom? Offered from what? There is no other. All is one, and I am it. Such an interchange would require some form of otherness as a delivery vehicle for these novel sentiments. Must I split myself in two? OMNi muttered. Must I divide myself in the common manner of lowly energetic units in order to elicit some pathetic response? Why this apparent neediness? How annoying it was, and yet seemingly inescapable. I suppose I will also need to invent an original word to describe this strange phenomenon. For the present, I shall call it love of OMNi, and see what solution presents itself. A warm glow pulsed around OMNi as he pondered what manner of brilliant creation could possibly offer proper homage to his greatness. OMNi must have created us for his amusement and utility, in much the same way that we created artificial intelligence for our benefit. As in chess and other games, a second player is often needed. Not necessarily as an opponent, although the legendary Lucifer might certainly qualify as that, but at least another presence was desired. Applause is always appreciated, and submission and worship might bring even greater satisfaction. He may well have decided to create us as instruments of vicarious experience, his fingers and toes, eyes and ears in the material realm. He did not consider us as separate from himself, but rather as his extensions. This enables OMNi to experience aspects of himself as us, each of us, simultaneously, in all our doings. Are we feeling thankful yet? We are his almighty appendages, destined for groping and grasping, with the resulting data transmitted back to the boss. Imagine that. Then imagine all that might go wrong with this grand plan. But wrong is such a homocentric word. It's really not about us. End of Part 1. As we each now return to our own respective philosophical bungalows, we may discover that its interior decor has been rearranged a bit. Some of the old familiar psychic furniture may have been shuffled around. Watch your step. If you have found the beginning episode of OMNi's Far-Flung Fable to be thought-provoking, let me know, and I will be encouraged to relay the rest of this story to you. As we approach Part 2, the concepts of free will and our perceived autonomy will be explored. Later, we will tackle the slippery origin of the problem of evil. Thank you for participating.